Our world is addicted to fossil fuels, and it's time for an intervention. We need to hold fossil fuel companies and their enablers to account.
Global approach to global challenges. A new declaration in New York. 77th UN General Assembly opens.
We all agree that government has a role in ensuring that our nation's young people get a quality education that allows them to compete and thrive in the 21st century knowledge economy.
Russell strike. Old laws no longer tenable. National Assembly moves to reform tertiary education. Plus, residents in parts of Untitled in fear as pipeline leaks gas. Hello and welcome to NTA Network News. I'm Ian Ray John and we're live in Abuja. Adiola Komiokere joins me from Lagos. Thank you for joining us. Just a quick reminder that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nt.ng/live, and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen for updates. The 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly has opened in New York, aimed at building hope and solutions to the complex and interconnected crisis bedeviling the global community. President Muhammadu Buhari is leading Nigeria's delegation to the world's largest diplomatic gathering for the last time under his administration. State House correspondent Teda Musambo has the details.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the fourth meeting of the General Assembly is called to order.
Under the theme, A Watershed Moment, Transformative Solutions to Interlocking Challenges, the world leaders are here in furtherance of sustained efforts at providing hope and overcoming divisions that are dramatically impacting the world. The world that the UN chief scribe, Antonio Guterres, said is blighted by war, battered by climate chaos, scarred by hate, and shamed by poverty, hunger, and inequality.
Let's tell it like it is. Our world is addicted to fossil fuels, and it's time for an intervention. We need to hold fossil fuel companies and their enablers to account. Polluters must pay. And today I'm calling on all developed economies to tax the windfall profits of fossil fuel companies. Those funds should be redirected in two ways: to countries suffering loss and damage caused by the climate crisis, and to people struggling with rising food and energy prices.
Next year, we will assess SDG 6 at the UN Water Conference, the first since 1977. Water is set to be the next major driver of conflict worldwide. The problem of water is threefold: too much, not enough, not safe. We have the chance to make a difference in the lives of 2.1 billion people who lack access to clean water.
Therefore, there is only one thing on the minds of the heads of state and government here, and that is finding solutions. People, they believe, need to either see results in their everyday lives or lose faith in their governments and indeed hope in the future.
The divergence between developed and developing countries, between North and South, between the privileged and the rest, is becoming more dangerous by the day. So let's develop common solutions to common problems, grounded in goodwill, trust, and the rights shared by every human being. Let's work as one, a coalition of the world, as United Nations.
I want to advance negotiations on Security Council reform. It is high time that the Council represents the world's population more equally and that it reflects 21st century realities. This is a matter of credibility to our entire organization. Things get better when we make them better. Things go wrong when we fail to seize the opportunities before us. Our opportunity is here and now. Let us act.
Dialogue and debate, without doubt, are the beating heart of the United Nations. And as they prevail against all divisions throughout the week, expectations are high, but the desired hope in the future can indeed come for those in need. President Muhammadu Buhari takes the floor to deliver Nigeria's national statement on Wednesday. From New York, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And away from New York now, President Muhammadu Buhari has transmitted the 2023-2025 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper to the Senate for approval. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that this is the first request as Senate reconvened from its 2 months annual recess.
2 months after their annual recess, senators are back for legislative business. Not in the hallowed chamber this time, but in one of the conference rooms, 022 to be precise. The Senate reconvened into a closed-door session, which lasted 2 hours. Thereafter, President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, read executive communications from President Muhammadu Buhari. He sought the approval of 2023-2025 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. In the letter, he implored the legislators to give expeditious consideration to the documents, to give way for the presentation and consideration of the 2023 appropriation bill, so as to ensure the sustenance of the January to December budget cycle.
And I have directed the Honourable Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning to take a number of measures designed to improve the fiscal condition of the federal government over the medium term.
The President also sought the approval for the establishment of promissory notes program for the issuance of 375.4 billion naira to settle outstanding claims for export expansion grants between 2007 and 2020 to exporters, 18.6 billion to Yobe states for the construction of federal government roads. He requested the confirmation of Mohammed Sabo Lamido as Executive Commissioner, Finance and Accounts in the board of the Upstream Regulatory Commission. President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, welcomed his colleagues and reminded them of the need for more commitment to national issues, especially security challenges, as he announced that the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, will be screened on Wednesday.
Our focus must remain on ensuring a secured and safe country and an economy that works for all citizens.
Senate condemned the attack on the senator representing Anambra South, Ifeanyi Uba, and called for a thorough investigation on the incident. This followed a motion by Senator Uche Ekunife. Chief Whip of the Senate, Oji Uzo Kalu, briefed Senate correspondents where he urged Nigerians to desist from viewing Nigeria's presidency from a regional point of view.
It's not a regional issue. I have no problem with an Igbo man being president, but we have to do it with other Nigerians. If you don't do it with other Nigerians, it's not going to work, no matter how popular you are.
The senator noted that during the recess, he presented the report of his midterm stewardship to his constituents and described it as an obligation for legislators. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Also in the Green Chamber, plenary has resumed after 8 weeks of recess, advocating for complete reform of tertiary education system in Nigeria, as the current framework of government-sponsored tertiary education is no longer working as intended. The move is in response to the prolonged face-off between the federal government and Academic Staff Union of Universities. National Assembly correspondent Lamiali brings us details.
Legislative business commenced with the reading of 2 presidential communications seeking approval of the House for the issuance of promissory notes worth 26 billion naira to Kebbi, Yobe and Taraba states as reimbursements for several road projects. Then came the Speaker's welcome address, which touched on several burning national issues such as the general elections, insecurity and judicial reforms, all of which he says require the attention of Parliament. Of priority, he added, is tertiary education by getting the students back to school.
Access to education, more than anything else, is key to unlocking prosperity and improving social mobility outcomes in any society. And we all agree that government has a role in ensuring that our nation's young people get a quality education. The time has also come to begin a candid assessment of the current system and to consider all available options for complete reform. We owe this to our children and to our nation's future.
The speaker also noted with concern economic sabotage in the oil sector, which has led to decline in exports, the lowest recorded in the last 20 years. He urged authorities to review subsisting arrangements towards improved security of pipelines. Other features at plenary include second reading of a bill to amend the Oaths Act, which seeks provision of digital and technological means of administering oaths.
To see that it conforms with, of course, the 21st century. Digital or technological advancement should be encouraged, but we should be cautious in our application. The Oaths Act needs to be brought up to speed, so it becomes a contemporary legislation.
The motion from Muraina Ajibola proposing the inclusion of Igbora in Oyo State for its high turnout of twins as UNESCO heritage site was adopted.
A successful resolution of this hidden world secret may be key to the survival of human race in the future and be handy in solving fertility issues in the world.
House members for the first time used the temporary chamber as the green chamber used since 1999 undergoes renovation. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Away from the second state of the realm, Nigeria and Netflix have begun talks that are geared towards stepping up the growth of the creative industry as well as attract investment. The move is the outcome of a meeting between Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed and a delegation from Netflix. Anthony Forson reports.
Embassy of Nigeria in The Hague was the venue of the meeting. The Netflix delegation, Information and Culture Minister, and the Nigerian ambassador to the Netherlands. Discussion with Netflix, a streaming service that offers a wide variety of award-winning TV shows, movies, documentaries, and many more, is tied towards supporting the creative industry in Nigeria.
During the presentation, there were 150 films of Nigerian, from Nigeria that are today showing on the streaming service of Netflix, and I was glad to hear that our films are very popular and are the favorites in many African countries. So this collaboration will only deepen the industry.
In the same vein, Lai Mohammed expressed satisfaction that the move will also play a vital role in the DSO project.
We can see a ray of hope that with collaboration between us and Netflix, we might be able to offer a better and cheaper digital switch over to Nigerians.
You can tell the level of positive that we can derive from this collaboration. They've committed over 2 billion naira to the creative industry in Nigeria.
Nigeria is a standout whichever way you think about it. The stories that come out of Nigeria are very compelling, they're very relatable, they transcend the globe. Nigeria is a superpower and we're a force to be reckoned with because I'm Nigerian. And even in the storytelling space, Netflix recognizes this potential and knows that the ability for Nigerians to showcase their culture and creativity abroad is inherent in the ecosystem of stories that we tell alongside the local industry.
Netflix, an American over-the-top content platform and production company headquartered in California, was founded in 1997. Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Nigeria Television Authority is repositioning to digitize its archives in a bid to preserve current, old, and future content. Acting Director General of the organization, Abdulhamid Dembos, disclosed this in a chart with Anthony Forson.
NTA, proudly the first in Africa, came on stream in 1977 as a body owned by government. Its saddle responsibility is broadcasting in the country with stations spread across the nation. NTA, as it is popularly called, remains the authentic source of information in Nigeria. Its potential and capacity of a broadcast station is yet to reach its maximum. As of today, NTA delivers quality programs and news to its viewers on domestic, foreign, economic, and political issues, as well as on matters of national security, which has remained its strongest point. With modern trends and emerging technology in the broadcast ecosystem, NTA is repositioning to align. The Acting Director General, Abdulhamid Dembo, says the cutting-edge technology injected into the industry is timely, and having experienced so at this year's IBC in Amsterdam, another move by NTA, he said, is to digitize its archiving system.
We have an avalanche of archival materials, and so what it means in essence that we need to retrieve some of these materials that are not in our possession. You know, we will have to keep history. If today we are living, tomorrow we will not be there. So generations to come will rely basically based on the archives that we will leave behind. Otherwise, history will be distorted.
NTA has materials in all formats of broadcasting, and its library, today being analog, NTA, the Acting Director General, said, must step up.
If we're able to succeed in doing that, that means we are also not only trying to archive our materials, but also trying to create job opportunities for Nigerians and open up the country to the world.
And to make this possible, he said NTA is in talking terms with a foreign firm which will come into Nigeria to set up and help NTA digitize its archiving system in Abuja. Anthony Forson, NTA News.
This is NTA Network News. Time for a break. Please stay. Thank you for staying. INEC has published the final list of presidential and National Assembly candidates for the 2023 elections, following expiration of the period for withdrawal and substitution of candidates by political parties. A statement from the INEC indicates that all the 18 political parties have fielded candidates and their running mates for the presidential election. Details from the INEC website show that Godswill Akpabio made the list as the APC senatorial candidate for Akwa Ibom North West, while Yobe North has no APC senatorial candidate for now. Kachiku Dumebi is the presidential candidate for African Democratic Congress. INEC appeals to all political parties to channel any observation on the list of candidates to the Commission, and such must be signed by the National Chairman and Secretary of the political party and supported with an affidavit. Candidates for state elections, that is, governorship and state constituencies, will be published on 4th October 2022. In other news, Yenagoa residents have called on the Nigerian Ajib Oil Company to fix its gas pipeline, which ruptured and is emitting large volume of gas into the air at the Bayelsa Palm Axis in the state capital. NTA News gathered that the incident occurred in the early hours of Tuesday. Aya Prezi has details.
Second of this kind of incident that have occurred this year. Residents of the area are concerned, particularly the fact that the gas being emitted is dangerous to both their health and the health of the environment. Though the cause of the incident is yet to be ascertained, the possibility of a third-party interference is evident in a battery and wire found around the spot of the explosion.
There should be enough security. That is why the recent contract given to some indigenes of the Niger Delta is very, very important. And they should swing into action to ensure that not only the pipelines are protected, but perpetrators of third-party incidents are apprehended and given the opportunity to face the law.
Most of the people think around also add in the security, whatever someone sees, someone says.
It's very disturbing, so please, let them do something about it. This thing is very dangerous. Yeah, I'm even surprised. I'm seeing some buildings around it at the other side.
Officials of the Nigerian Ajib Oil Company, operators of the affected gas pipeline, and relevant agencies of government are yet to speak on the incident. In Yenagoa, Aya, Brazil, NG News.
Nigeria is working hard to eliminate child labor involving about 15 million children, out of which half of the number is bearing the heavy burden of hazardous work. The First Lady, Aisha Buhari, in a message, called for increased investment in social protection systems and schemes to establish social protection floors that will protect children from child labor. Emmanuel Ayimiru reports.
Nigeria's Child Rights Act guarantees the fundamental human rights of children, but only 24 out of 36 states of the Federation have domesticated it. A resolve to apply a systematic approach and effective policies to strengthen social protection systems, education, and decent work opportunities for parents and caregivers to address the conditions that drive child labor was adopted.
Providing children with universal access to free, compulsory, quality basic education is important to ensure that human beings reach their full potential.
To also do a clarion call to all Nigerians that the time is now for us to fight this cankerworm.
Children's participation at the conference provided an opportunity for parents to know what their children feel about this cause.
And provide support to children.
There is need for a swift approach to child labor issues in Nigeria.
Nigeria's First Lady, represented by the wife of Kwara State Governor Olufolake Abdulrazak, said women stand united in a call for action so that children will grow up to their full potentials.
I have listened to the various speakers here today and how they are helping to change the narrative. I believe this multi-sectoral approach will help in eradicating child labor in Nigeria.
The new advocacy is end child labor, forced labor, and human trafficking supply chain now. Emmanuel Ayimiru, NTA News.
The Affirmative Action Bill may not have scaled through at the National Assembly, but advocacy for gender parity is still topical. The latest is a roundtable discussion on advancing women's participation in governance decision-making in Nigeria. Ikechukwu Ndukwe reports.
Nigeria, a country of over 200 million people, was in March this year thrown in a controversy when a pro-equality gender bill failed to scale through in the National Assembly.
This bill was important because it sought for rights and autonomy of women during the constitution review process.
That situation is still unsettled as apostles of gender parity in Nigeria are still mobilizing to achieve their purpose.
But the joy and the good news is that this conversation and this movement is gaining momentum, and the landscape is changing for the better for all women globally. The issue is about global development, societal development.
Women should also endeavor to work in the media, including in leadership positions. Support for women's advocates helps them develop communication and media skills so that they can effectively engage with journalists.
The argument here is that women in pre- and post-independence era have shown capacity, character, prudence, and should be given equal opportunity with their male counterparts through passage of all gender-related bills in the National Assembly. Ikechukwu, NTA News.
Time to go to Lagos, where Adeola would give us more news. Adeola?
Thank you, Iyere. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has seized the largest consignment of hard substances weighing more than 1.8 tons with street value of 194 billion naira. Lynn Leneke reports that the operation led to the arrest of 4 drug barons and a foreign accomplice.
The searchlight of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency on the arrest of these suspects who specialized in trafficking cocaine commenced since 2018. The cartel, suspected to be members of an international drug syndicate, was rounded up at a warehouse in the Ikorodu area of the state through a well-coordinated and intelligence operation that lasted 2 days. Substances were stored in 10 travel bags and 13 drums. The agency says they were to be trafficked to buyers in Europe and other countries as discovered by the agency through its preliminary investigation. The consignment, regarded as the biggest singular cocaine seizure in the history of the Drug Law Agency, as buttressed by the Director of Media and Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, is a testament to translating into action the marching order of President Muhammadu Buhari by the officers and men of the agency to frustrate and arrest those involved in the illegal business.
It is the seizure. This huge seizure is a deadly blow to the drug cartels and a sign that they will all go down. It's a strong message to them that they will all go down if they fail to back out of this illicit trade.
While commending all the officers and men of the agency involved in the operation, including those of the American Drug Enforcement Administration, Chairman of the agency, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, retired, said the bust is a historical blow to the drug cartels. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
Normalcy has returned on Airport Road in Lagos a day after protests by National Association of Nigerian Students against lingering ASU strike disrupted activities along that corridor. Adeniyi Taiwo reports that the protesting students may have relocated as they did not converge on Tuesday.
This is a picture of free-flowing traffic here along Airport Road going towards the international wing of Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. This is in sharp contrast to what happened here on Monday when this axis was chosen as the staging area for continuation of the protest by students under the aegis of National Association of Nigerian Students who were protesting the lingering strike by ASU for air passengers and others who work at the airport who are caught, in the old drama that happened on Monday. The experience, they say, was harrowing. The domestic and international wings of the airport are busy as usual with air passengers trying to check in, while it was difficult to identify those who had to reschedule their flights because of the disruption on Monday. What is common to most of them, including the likes of Mrs. Balogun, a Dublin-bound passenger, is a shared concern to get to the airport very early.
I saw this thing on social media yesterday that the students were protesting or something, and people's flights were disrupted. So I had to come pretty early.
I regard myself as lucky because I woke up very early, left my hotel room very early, just in order to ensure that I beat the time, because I know they cannot mobilize at 5 a.m.
Hilary Dikocha works as an agent at the airport but was forced to return home on Monday. His recollection of the gridlock arising from the protest is not particularly cheering.
A lot of people carried their baggages, trying to meet up their flight time. So some people use their leg running to meet up so that they catch up their flight.
For now, it is uncertain whether the protesting students have sheathed their sword or relocated elsewhere in their bid to have academic activities resume at universities. In Lagos, Adeniyi Taiwo, NTA News.
That's a update from Lagos. Do not forget that you can still follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screens for updates. The network news will continue after this break. To stay on.
Glad to have you back. ECOWAS member states are expected to adopt a unified security sector reform and governance in tackling terrorism and violent extremism in the West African sub-region. This is part of recommendation by security experts and foreign partners at a capacity development workshop for stakeholders in the security sector. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim reports.
On the political unrest in Guinea-Bissau, to issues of human trafficking in the Gulf of Guinea, another part of Africa, telling negatively on the governance and security. In all of these, ECOWAS faces the brunt of it. Not to leave the whole burden on ECOWAS, the European Union, German government and its partners are taking the lead in strengthening the capacity of ECOWAS member states to be able to tackle new and emerging security threats. in the sub-region.
It's a way to contribute to the democratization progress in ECOWAS member states by encouraging security institutions to comply with democratic governance principles, which, it almost goes without saying, is accountability, transparency, and the rule of law.
We can't speak of development when there's no peace, and we can't have peace when there is no purposeful strategy to make that peace happen. ECOWAS, security sector, policy frameworks provide us that truth.
For Nigeria, the commitment is renewed and ready to partner to achieve more successes.
And curbing these negative phenomena would indeed go a long way towards entrenching a sustainable development in our region.
These stakeholders will be brainstorming on ideas that will translate to practical action of reforming the security architecture of the West African sub-region. Salwa Khalil, NTA News.
The Alumni Association of National Institutes for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS, Conference on National Unity in Abuja identifies continuous dialogue by Nigeria's polyethnic components on national issues as one of the ways Nigeria could reach its promised land. Kenneth Nanim reports that voices were louder, clamoring for national unity and development at the forum.
Nigeria is moving closer to another date with destiny, an imminent change of baton after the people make their choices on leadership and representation. The citizens appear apprehensive due to various socio-economic challenges and the narratives which seem to be wearing the old robes of religious and ethnic considerations. The AANI Conference on National Unity is leading conversations around some identified national issues to galvanize all-inclusive action and promote unity of purpose ahead of the 2023 general elections.
We are bound to disagree, but we must recognize the fact that our strength lies in our unity.
Like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, we fear each other because we don't know each other. The more we communicate with ourselves, the more we get close to each other.
Other speakers gave insight into the concept of transparent and well-intentioned processes of dialogue and mutual respect, especially in making leadership choices.
This requires comprehensive planning and the enshrinement of accountability, good governance, and sustained advocacy throughout the country.
I'll leave with the quotation of Smart and Fodio. Seeing to the welfare of your subjects is more important than the use of force.
The conference also expressed optimism that recommendations by the technical committee will be harmonized for onward implementation. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Nigeria and U.S. military experts are in Abuja to evaluate the Ministry of Defense Health Implications Program established to control the spread of infectious diseases among troops and those who reside near the barracks. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa brings us details.
Health Implementation Program, established in 2005 with the goal of curtailing HIV/AIDS among troops, their families, and civilians near the barracks. The program's scope is reviewed to include other infectious diseases.
The combined efforts of all of us here in this room today have accelerated Nigeria's HIV response, and we expect to reach HIV epidemic control by 2024, 6 years ahead of schedule. A remarkable.
This forum in Abuja is another opportunity for experts in the program to evaluate what has been achieved.
This partnership has yielded a lot of results because it did not only provide equipment, but has also provided avenue for training and exchange of knowledge between Nigerian personnel and, of course, the U.S. personnel. So this meeting is a meeting between the two countries to review the progress made so far with a view to actually making recommendations for future engagements between the two countries.
We have made a lot of achievements in terms of reduction of HIV among the military, the families, and civilians living around the barrack. Apart from that, we have upgraded our infrastructures, we have embarked on a lot of training, and we have contributed immensely to the national response both to COVID-19 and HIV in Nigeria.
The program is also developing the health system of the armed forces across the country. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Looking at other issues now, in line with its mandate to support member countries achieve sustainable economic development, the Islamic Development Bank is partnering the NTA to create broad-based awareness of its financing projects and trade operations in Nigeria as Africa's largest member country. This was when a delegation of the financial institution paid a courtesy visit on NTA management. Nika Oko reports.
Islamic Development Bank believes everyone deserves the right to live in dignity and prosperity, and that nurturing economic growth is the best route out of poverty. This is why the bank, since inception, has been pursuing a comprehensive and inclusive approach to development, covering public and private sector financing in member countries. This visit to NTA management is predicated on the fact that Nigeria is Africa's largest member country, contributing 11% to the bank's capital.
We are making this visit to improve the relationship between us as a development institution and the media of one of the most important countries we are working in, which is Nigeria.
We are focusing on post-COVID recoveries and building resilience and tackling poverty, as well as our main chunk also is focuses on driving green growth economy.
The Executive Director of Finance, Fatima Bada, who received the group on behalf of the acting DG of NTA, pledged the authority's support to the ideals of the bank.
You are almost interest-free, and that is what we have. That is going to help a lot, going to help the SMEs, is going to help the communities, and even Nigeria as a whole. We'll be able to develop so many projects based on the grants and every other thing the loans you are giving.
Management also played host to members of the Global Peace Advocacy and Empowerment Initiative.
We are embarking on a drug awareness campaign in Nigeria. We know that it's very important for us to collaborate with NTA.
I think it's a laudable, venture. It's something that we support here in NTA, and we'll be able to give you the maximum support that is needed.
In Abuja, Nika Oko, NTA News.
There's hope that the boundary dispute between Kogi and Indigo states will soon be resolved amicably. Steps are now being taken by the National Boundary Commission in line with the Supreme Court ruling on the matter. Kelvin Evonaye brings us details.
Since 2005, Kogi and Indigo states have been embroiled in boundary dispute, especially the location of Ete community. After long years of legal tussle, the Supreme Court ruled in 2018 and mandated the National Boundary Commission to resolve the dispute amicably to avoid further conflicts. This meeting here is to further concretize the steps taken so far in realizing that mandate, with the Commission now set for tracing and demarcation of the boundary to clearly set out the affected communities. To do that effectively, all grey areas must be cleared, a decision both parties are happy with.
Existing statutory instruments, gathered, map, schedules, etc., point directly to the fact that the community has never been part of any movement.
Governments that are spared in disturbances, distractions, and destruction of lives and properties alike, attend on border clash, have a lot to thank God for.
A technical committee is expected to emanate from the meeting to fast-track the processes of putting the dispute to bed. In Abuja, Kelvin Ebonwaye, NTA News.
Meanwhile, construction work has commenced at the portion of Ado-Ilawe Ekiti Road, which collapsed a few days ago. Ayodeji Ogunshakin reports that officials at the site say the rehabilitation work will be completed in a matter of days.
Ado-Ilawe Ekiti Road is one of the busiest roads that link motorists and travelers from the northern part of the country en route Ado-Ekiti to neighboring states like Ondo, Osun, Oyo and Lagos states. Although there is no vehicular movement due to the collapse, the situation has however forced commuters to spend more money on transportation as commercial motorcyclists charge exorbitantly from Ado to Ilawe-Ekiti. A visit to the faith portion also showed that construction work has commenced as motorists and road users called on the state government to expedite action.
It is a cantankerous experience. This didn't start just yesterday. It has been there.
It's very difficult for us to come here. So the state government or federal government should come and look the place.
The situation has also forced motorists to ply Igede-Ekiti as alternative roads to Ilawe-Ekiti and neighboring states. This is Igede-Ilawe Road that serves as an alternative. This road from Ado-Ekiti, the state capital, and roads Igede to Ilawe covers a distance of almost an hour as against 15 to 20 minutes drive from Ado-Ekiti to Ilawe. Ekiti State Governor Dr. Kawade Fayemi had earlier visited the road and directed rehabilitation. From Ado-Ekiti, Ayode Jogunshakin, NTA News.
Let's take another quick break. The news continues shortly. Let's have a bit of sports now as World Athletics body ratifies Toby Amuson's championship record. Details of this and more with Gift George. Just a quick update now. Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila says House leadership will hold consultations with President Muhammadu Buhari immediately he returns from New York towards finding ways of bringing to an end the ongoing strike action by ASU. After a meeting that lasted several hours behind closed doors between House leadership, the Ministry of Education and ASU officials, Gbajabiamila disclosed that some agreements have been reached and that the resolutions will be submitted to Mr. President.
Covered good ground and we've made very good progress. Ours, like I said earlier, is to interface directly with ASU as an independent arm of government. Find out exactly, go into more granular details or, well, we knew the issues, but to find out exactly what solutions can be offered. As you know, they say two heads are better than one.
The House will also meet with other key stakeholders on the deployment of a payment system for universities. ASU President thanked the House leadership for the intervention as members await amicable resolution of the impasse. The death has occurred of Sir Timothy Okoroma, a Knight of St. Christopher at the age of 96. A series of songs by the Knights of St. Christopher was scheduled for Tuesday, 20th of September 2022 at Kato, Owerri, Imo State. Another series of songs will be on Thursday, September 22 at Mishak and Elizabeth Okoroma's family compound. Friday, 23rd September, will be a service of commendation at Kato, Owerri, Imo State by 8 o'clock in the morning, while funeral service is same day at St. Peter's Anglican Church, Alaini, Ogwa, Umbiatoli, Imo State. Interment will be at the church cemetery. Outing service is also scheduled for September 25th at St. Peter's Anglican Church, Alaini, Ogwa, Umbiatoli, Imo State. That concludes NTA Network News tonight. Many thanks for watching. Please be reminded that the fight against rape and rapists is still on. Do your part. I'm Ian Ray John. Have a good night.